Where'd the music? Oh, it literally is. Okay. What does it say? Alrighty. I guess it is that day, huh? Because that day has come and it's upon us, isn't it? Alright. I mean, it's been a while, hasn't it? It has been a while. And it's also gonna be a long-ish stream today, I hope, because it's gonna be needed. It's gonna be needed for a number of reasons. Or at least I hope it's a long stream. I don't know. There's stuff on my mind today that I want to talk about. And hopefully I could get some... hopefully there's some closure to all of this by the end of it all, I guess. Because, hey, this is it. This is it. Without a shadow of a doubt. I don't need that. I'll just take this. I don't be having that. Oh, that minimizes it with it. Oh, damn it. I just wanted to have chat and that's it. Alright, well, fuck. I didn't want to have OBS on my second screen. I just wanted to have my main screen. Just be something that I wanted to stare at. Anyways. Yeah, this is it. Nothing special about today. Nothing really that I didn't think of anything other than just take a little bit of coffee. And kind of shoot the shit for a couple hours. Probably not as many as I would have liked, but I started this stream a little too early compared to what I really wanted to. I wanted to stream at around like 11 o'clock a.m., like 5 hours from now, but the unfortunate thing is that work is still the way that work has always been for me these last several years, which is not streamer friendly. So I have not been able to accomplish much new from there. So it's a little sad, but it is what it is. I've been streaming for several years now. I should have figured that out by now, but it never worked out. Yeah, it is a little, it's a little, yeah. I don't know how else to really, like, put it, because this ain't my first rodeo with graduation streams, but this is, this one hurts a little bit more, because simply put, the reality of it, more so the magnitude of it, if I could be a little honest, because of the fact that, you know, VTubing was something that I did kind of enjoy at one point. It was something that I was looking forward to, like, becoming a nice little escape from my personal hell and shit like that, but it just didn't work out. It really just didn't work out, and it's kind of upsetting in a way. I mean, kind of shows you how much effort I put into this stream when I barely mention anything about it anywhere. So... yeah, I don't know. I just kind of hope that today's just gonna be one of those days where it's a nice send-off a nice little bit of closure without a lot of regrets or bad vibes at the end of it all. Because that's the biggest thing, right? There's, I've been a little negative these past couple of years. Whenever I've talked about how I've been as a VTuber. And I don't necessarily fully regret it. Regret the decision of becoming a VTuber. I felt like, at least at the time, it might have been a bit necessary. Thinking back to that year of 2021 when I first became a VTuber, I was in a place where I thought that I wasn't going to be able to be personally creative, and I wanted to have a change of pace, change of scenery, and try something new, try something different. I had my reasons as to why I became a VTuber, right? They're like, everybody has their reasons of becoming a VTuber. I certainly have mine, especially back in 2021 when I first debuted, right? So when I first debuted, the reason why I wanted to become a, I don't know where to put my microphone so it's not covering up my mouth, so so my tracking's good. Anyway, sorry, tangent aside. When I started off in 2021, I wanted to become a VTuber because, let me double check things real quick before I continue with this tangent. Not tangent, this topic. I think my OBS may be a little quiet, isn't it? Double check that. Maybe. No. Yes, it is. Haha. Sorry about that. I don't know why my OBS was quiet. Actually, yeah, I do. It's because I've been using it to play a bunch of things on my PS5, and that gets a little loud whenever I don't turn it down, so I have to turn it down. But unfortunately, doing so means that I sometimes will forget that I do record stuff. Okay. There we go. Now it's actually as loud as I want it to be. Apologize if the music the last 20 minutes hasn't been... Actually, it's been like 15. If not 10. Alright, there we go. I was wondering, like, damn, my headset's all the way up, but the music's pretty quiet. There we go. Hey, Kyoso. Glad you could join me tonight. Or today, rather. There we go. Now that I got that final thing, final adjustment aside, I can go on what I was talking about. So yeah, everybody has their reasons on why they became a VTuber, and I had no exception. Back in, 2021, when I first became one, or just before, I was at a spot, creatively speaking, on the other side of things. I will keep calling the, my new creative channels the other side, because I don't want to directly call it what it is, because I'm not entirely too sure if I can or not. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I don't know if I can call it the Japanaholic channel. I've been good at keeping that to the side for the last couple of months, just because I haven't been, I don't know if I'm going to get myself in trouble one way or the other. But fuck it, it's my last day. It feels like when you're going into work for the final time after putting your 2 weeks in. It's like, yeah, fuck, I don't fucking care. Anyways. But yeah, creatively speaking, I was not in a good spot back then, and I just was like, I kind of want to change how I produce stuff creative-wise. So I thought, and also during that time, I was in a very, very peak otaku, where I was just binging animes and manga series like they were like they were food to a fat guy, I guess. Just one after the other. Give me more. I need more. I need more of this shit, man. You couldn't stop me from watching stuff back in like 2020, 2021. That was like my peak watching days. I was going through like at least 2 series a week. If maybe one every one, or at least I would say at least one new series every week. That's why whenever I talk about the stuff that I've watched on anime, that's why it's like, oh, so, you know, in terms of some shows that I've watched, I've considered myself, despite me not watching as long as everybody else has, the amount of shows that I've watched in the short span of time would say otherwise, right? So, like, between 2019, which is when I first started watching, and 2022, when my peak stopped, completely hard stopped, I'll say more about that here in a second, I was at around 100 to 120 different shows in series. Not like season 1, season 2 of one series. No, like in a 3-ish years span, I think I was introduced to over 100 different series with a couple hundred more that I wanted to watch in a watch list. So during that span of time, I was like, you know, it kind of makes sense for me to become a VTuber, right? Because I was very high into watching anime. I was very high into getting into that kind of stuff. So I figured, why not? I'll get, you know, I'll do that. I could become a VTuber. What's the worst that could happen? And then as the rest of 2021 unfolded and into 2022 happened, what ended up happening was, I want to say burnout, but not from being a VTuber, but actually watching like anime and reading mangas. Shockingly, if you could believe that. I don't know if it was that, because I'll explain it here later. But I just got to the point where I wasn't watching as much as I was during those years. And I don't know if becoming a VTuber did that or what. I want to say yes. Because the moment that I stopped really being a VTuber and started focusing on everything but that, I've since become once again back in that phase, but just not as extreme, a little bit more moderate, right, on that front. Like, I've been reading a lot more than I've been watching. I think that has to do more so with work than anything else, but I've also been trying to stay creatively busy, so that's another thing too. But yeah, I've been I haven't been watching as much anime and reading mangas as much as I thought I was going to as a VTuber. But as soon as I stepped away from becoming a VTuber and, you know, more so permanently coming up in the next couple of hours, that's kind of changed. I've been watching more stuff, rewatching stuff, reading and rereading stuff. Just getting back into it kind of feels nice. Kind of feels good, right? It feels relaxing. It feels nice and enjoyable for once, and I don't have to really worry about going super hard on it, because there's no reason for me to. I just do it for the love of the game, right? I didn't even like watch all that anime and stuff for content purposes either back then. I mean, I kind of did, but it was kind of like I just loved the shows and series so much, so I would just talk about it. But that's just kind of how I was back then. But I was hoping that becoming a VTuber would make it so watching stuff and reading stuff would be more rewarding, if that makes sense. because I didn't really talk about it content-wise, not to a huge level, before I was a VTuber, so I thought becoming a VTuber would only elevate it an extra level or two, but it did the opposite. It legitimately did the opposite, and I think it was just because, again, I don't know. I don't know why. I really don't. It sounds stupid, but, like, instead of watching more anime and reading more mangas and talking about it every so often on stream, I just didn't do anything at all. Like, I completely sidestepped everything that I was back in, like, 2019 and 2020, and just kind of started anew. And I think it was partially because I was trying to separate a lot from my personal life versus the VTuber side of things, because I didn't want that many people that personally knew me to find out about me being a VTuber. Not because I was embarrassed, but because I didn't think that that was right. And I also wanted to see how I could manage a VTuber channel, I guess. I just think that, personally speaking, I could have probably, when I became independent, I could have taken this YouTube channel and Twitch channel, I could have taken this and move it over towards, like, the Japanaholic channel and kind of just cross them together that way. So that way I could have just been still on one account and that be that. But I instead was still like, no, I'm still going to try and keep the two, still try to keep the two separate as much as possible, and not, you know, be like, oh, I used to be this. Nah, like, I think that was just because I was young and stupid, but now I'm just kind of like, I really just got to stop giving a shit about that and just do what I got to do, which is now just stop being a VTuber altogether. I mean, I think that decision of me not combining the two accounts together kind of ultimately led to the bad end coming towards the VTuber side of things, because if I wanted to stop being a VTuber, then I'd have to effectively get rid of all these accounts. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to delete the YouTube channel. That would be stupid. That would be the ultimate stupidity move. So, this channel's just going to be a VOD channel until it inevitably flatlines completely and just loses all sorts of, just loses it all, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of channels that are practically abandoned, including the old channel of mine. So, I mean, I don't know. I hate doing stuff and abandoning it. I can never say that word. I hate abandoning stuff so much. It sucks. It really does. I very much hate the fact that I'm abandoning this whole side of things with VTubing and stuff like that. But I feel like it's not much else I could do, right? I've kind of just haven't been happy with streaming lately, and I don't really want to stream. But if I, don't want to stream, then what's the point of being a VTuber, right? So, yeah. Hello, Zero. Nice to see you here today as well. I appreciate you also wanting to follow me on my newest journey. I appreciate anybody that wants to do that, right? I've opened up invitations, essentially, that's how I'm saying it, to people that follow me here to follow me over there. Because I don't, and this kind of softens the blow of this graduation stream a lot, because people that know me on the other side know that, yeah, this is the end of the VTuber side of things, but it's really nowhere close to the end outside of it, right? Like, I'm continuing on, but just not here. So that's the thing. So, hey Foozy, hope you're doing well as well. So yeah, that's what makes the whole thing, this whole ordeal so much more softer than, you know, I guess a lot of normal graduation streams. A lot of normal graduation streams that you see, you would rarely find a way to see the other person beyond, right? If that makes sense. Whereas I don't want that, right? Because few reasons. The biggest is because I've built this community for the last couple years, off and on. Like, it's not even been, like, super consistent, but yeah. Oh, hello, Penny. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good night. Thank you for joining me here today as well. I don't think.
Well, I was shopping for a new car. Which one's me? A cool convertible or an SUV?
Well, at least that stuff works.
I didn't know my credit was whack, 'cause now I'm driving off the lot in a used subcompact.
Just woke up, nice.
That spells free. Creditreport.com, baby.
Appreciate the head pats. I'm pretty sure my thing isn't working. Oh, my Twitch is probably not. Let me take a look at this real quick. Let me disappear.
Applies with enrollment and triple advantage.
Yeah, hashtag nostalgia. Ah, yeah, that's why. Okay, my account wasn't connected. Alright, cool. Now it should be. Give that a second. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's been too long since I've used that. Redeem it for free this time. There we go. Perfect. Anyways. But yeah, I will link. Let me go and link my thing real quick. Don't steal my hat. My hair is all frizzy. Let me look up my other side of things here. Because I actually have been posting on there. So I will. So there's that. If anybody is. If anybody hasn't yet, I should say, done the jump over to the new side of things, there's the main place, right? My only thing is that I would not try not to, you know, say anything about me being a VTuber. That's my only thing. I'm not gonna forcibly be like that strict on it, but I just would like people to know me more as a Japanaholic after today. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, what VTuber? Yeah. Exactly. Funny enough, I will say this. There was a time, and these live streams don't technically exist. They still do, but more of my personal archive side of things. But on the other channel, I used to have a model, like a this model, essentially. It was like a cheap commission model that I tried to do, and it was okay, but I definitely was trying something before I became this, but it didn't really work out as well. So yeah, probably would have been something more if I wasn't Wyatt, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I am open to anybody deciding to jump over to the other channel as well. Like I said, like, I'm not trying to completely hide it. I I just don't want to give it out that quickly and immediate, or like not, I don't want to like shout it to the sky, right? But yeah, like a lot of people have been following me for the last couple of years, and you know, I kind of want to keep it that way moving forward because I appreciate those. Like, I got to appreciate the people that have followed me and stuck with me more than others, I guess, because like whether you've stuck with me for the last couple of months or years, it's like you're only one of a few that do. So I mean, that's the thing, right? So obviously I'm not going to be able to get anybody, but yeah. It's just that with how inconsistent I was as a VTuber, I appreciate the people that have seen me more and more, and have followed me and stuck by me, I guess, in a way. So there's that. I don't mind if people still call me by my VTuber name, especially in like voice chats and stuff like that. That's fine. I just don't want, I still kind of don't want like that to be my main thing, right? Like, I don't want to be like mainly remembered as Wyatt afterwards, right? Oh, I just got squished. I've been squished. But that's fine, right? Like, I've been so used to people calling me Wyatt that it's kind of become my second personal name in a way. Like, you know, I don't mind that at all. Like, that's fine if, you know, that's what you want to call me, because you probably know me more as Wyatt than the Japanaholic, and I do not see that as a negative thing whatsoever. That is more understandable than anything else. But yeah, and pixelated. Yippee. I'm glad that this stuff still works despite me not playing with it for the last like couple months. So I'm glad that it's not broken. Sometimes it is broken. Sometimes it is. There's also my real name on my channel. There is, yes. So there's that. I mean, I don't mind it, right? Like, I've never mind people knowing my personal name. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get rid of that on my old channel, no matter how hard I try. So that's I don't mind it, right? Like, I tried to stay as unpersonal as possible as a VTuber because I wanted to see how far I could go with that. And to be honest, it didn't last long because it took me only a few months before a VTuber knew my personal accounts. Not because of an accident, but because that was requested. But I say that, but that, yeah, that was not a very... Listen, I will say this. So some stories that I will tell are not going to all end in positive lights, and these two next individuals, who I will not name at all, but I will just say that there were two incidents that kind of taught me early lessons. So there's that. Before I was a VTuber, I was in a small circle of friends that also wanted to be VTubers. And some of them were already VTubers, some of them were still aspiring, I guess, in a way. And one of these individuals who I barely knew, like, I barely knew these folks, I'll say. I say I was in a circle, but realistically, the reason... So, okay, to set the stage, I think it was either June of 2021 or a month or two before or after, somewhere in between, right? It wasn't long. It might have been a few months before, to be honest, but details, schmeetails. I was looking around the VTuber or the virtual YouTubers Reddit page, and on there they usually had, I know they still do, but I don't think it's been updated as often as it was back then. But they used to update a page of auditions. So I would frequently check that, see if I could go and submit my audition anywhere that I could. And in there, I think it was either that place or somewhere similar where there was like a comment from somebody that was like, hey, you know, I've been trying my best to become a VTuber and auditions and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. It hasn't really worked out. At some point, it became a small little chat circle that that me and a few others began to talk in a little bit more, because we all wanted to be VTubers, and we were like, hey, we can help each other out. Sure thing. So that started off there, then it moved over to Discord. So it was like maybe a handful of months, no more than that. And one of these individuals was also a aspiring VTuber, and they also got like a model and stuff like that later on. But I never was that much of a frequent chatter. I chatted sometimes and just gave my thoughts and inputs and stuff like that. But this one female was getting a little overly friendly with me. And I didn't really mind it. Like, that's the thing. I didn't mind it. I kind of went along with it. I didn't know if it was in character or not. But they knew me personally. And then once I became who I am now, they followed me through that journey. And at some point, like, things just kind of didn't turn out the way that, it didn't turn out a very positive way. Me and them kind of, I guess I'll just say it, like, I overstepped some boundaries, I guess. And she wasn't very happy with that, but never really bothered to tell me about it. And then, at some point, it just fell apart. Like, it rapidly fell apart. And, thankfully nothing after that happened. And it was just kind of like one of those things where it was like, it was a stupid moment that happened. Between the two of us, we were both, I would say, young, and we were both dumb and, well, I don't want to say both. I was more so dumb and stupid. We both were to some levels, obviously, but I'm not trying to, like, attack them right now. That's not the whole point. I'm just being like, you know, we're gonna do that kind of stupid shit when we're that young anyway. So it's just like, it happens. Shit happens. It's chalked up to a moment of, shit happens. It's an overstepped boundary, and when that happens, you gotta learn from it. So, and that's what I did. But yeah, that person knew me before I was a VTuber, and that didn't work. that didn't work out for me. Thankfully, all that really happened in the end was just like, we just stopped talking to each other and stopped having any sort of connections, and nothing more was ever done. There was no, like, massive call-out post or massive whatever. It was just like, all right, this is it. All right, whatever. Fuck. All right. End of that whole deal. But that sucked. That was, like, super early on in 2000, or like late 2021, which was like super early on when I first debuted. During that, this was right around, and this leads me right into the second person, one after the other. Great. So this leads me to the second person. It was around Thanksgiving 2021, or around late November for those that aren't in America. And I was just kind of feeling down after everything that happened. Kind of sucked. But the one, it's going to be hard for me to talk about this person without giving, like, a good amount of details about them. Because they were also an agency VTuber, and I really don't want to name the agency. Because it doesn't lead to that many... I'll just say this. The agency is no longer a thing. They are no longer a VTuber. Not that I know of. They could be somebody else, but I've never been able to find a definitive... another definitive persona of theirs. So there's that. Appreciate you coming in, Fuji, and I hope that you have yourself a good rest of the day or night. So, but I appreciate you stopping in. They used to be in an agency. The agency's no longer there, so that means they're no longer there, and so on and so forth. I just don't want to speak about it because I do not want to bring any more attention to their name, I guess. I'm trying to do this as respectful as possible, but it's kind of hard to when I want to give as much context as possible, while still trying to be respectful, if that makes any sense. But yeah, this agency was an agency that I looked up to a lot, necessarily. They were actually like one of the closest agencies that I was about to get into, before ultimately nothing came about from it. I don't know if it was because of something that, like, in terms of like direction that I wanted that they didn't want, or something like that. I don't know. I was close, but it didn't work out in the end. I guess it wouldn't matter in the end because the agency closed, but point still stands. I was very close with the agency from a viewer perspective, right? I knew the talents pretty well. I watched their streams. I was a huge fan of their them, so I followed them. And it was during that time in like late November when one of them actually got in contact with me, and like surprisingly it wasn't me that initiated it. It was actually them, which was actually kind of cool, because like I've been wanting to expand and collab and network with people. That was kind of like my big goal of all things, right? I wanted to network with people early on and make friends. And so, you know, when they contacted me first, we really hit it off really well as friends. Like, we talked, we had some really great conversations, and so on and so forth. Genuinely speaking, like, this one was a lot more of a like, I would say the closest VTuber friend that I've had. Still to this day, I will say it's up there. There's some others, especially now after connecting with everybody on the personal side of things. On the other side, you know, there's a lot more people that I would say have this deep connection with, but at the time, it was definitely like the top connection. And it was a good time. We got to the point where we were like, hey, listen, you know, I don't use this Discord as much. Do you want to go over to the other side of things, on the personal side of things, if you want, if you have? And they were like, yeah, sure, I'll totally do that. So, you know, not only were we connected VTuber-wise, but we were connected personally. So things started off really well, right? We were just chit-chatting about whatever came to mind. We were talking about VTubing, about streaming, about content creation, all that, getting into our hobbies and talking about shows and movies. Now, the difference between the first person and the second person is that there was no overstepping boundaries in the degenerate kind of way, or I guess more so the like lewd degenerate kind of way, but there was still some boundaries that were overstepped that were more on the uncomfortable side of things, and it wasn't my fault this time. Shocking. I got to know this person very well, and they were anything but a good individual. And it shocks me, the details that it shocks me, the stuff that I learned from them over the course of the next like several months, right? Because I will spoil this right now. This friendship, this close connection, lasted barely half a year, which does not sound like a lot, but for what it was still at least at the time some of the most like fucked up almost, I wouldn't say half a year, like 4 to 5 months, right? And the reason why it was only that short is because of a couple things that I'll get into here. So they had a history of self-harm. And, you know, that's nothing new to me, at least. I've had friends and other mates that have done self-harm. That's not something new to me whatsoever. And I said it before, like I'll always be there for them. I'll always be there for anybody that's in that position, right? Like, cause that's terrible. That's shitty. So, you know, that was one thing, right? I tried helping them through that state. They were not the most active person outside of, online stuff. They were kind of an introvert. They were talking about how they really wanted to get into the idol industry, but they couldn't do it because they realized, well, they couldn't, they were struggling to get into it, right? Like they wanted to, but they couldn't. And, you know, they've had family issues and stuff like that. So, you know, at first it was nothing over the top. It was just shit that was like, damn, I feel bad for them and I wish I could, you know, be there for them a little bit more. But is what it is. Then it got to the point to where they opened up a little too much and they told me straight up that they were nihilistic. They had nihilistic thoughts, which, for those unaware, they just didn't give a shit, essentially. They just didn't care about anybody or anything. So it just got worse and worse. I won't go into too much detail other than the fact that basically she had no regard for human life. And that was that. I'll leave it at that, because there was a lot more that I could get into. But it got to the point to where I was very much confident that this was not going to be... this was not going to be... And, like, whatever you could think of, it's probably worse. More than likely, it's probably worse. And I really want to talk about what broke the camel's back, but I also kind of don't. Because it's bad to say on stream. But I will say there was one specific point and one specific thing that she told me where I was just like, this sucks, but I gotta burn this bridge. If I could burn this bridge, it'll be a lifesaver for me more so than anything else. So, and it did. It happened quick, and yeah, moved on from that. So, I mean, that was basically within a span of a year. Little more, I think. Little more, little less, around that time frame, I guess. Because it all started around either June or somewhere around June of 2021 with the first incident, and then the second incident happened all basically right at that same mark, but the year after. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but I mean, that kind of set the stage for how the rest of everything else went. And I think another thing is too is that, you know, I try not to let it get to me, especially after all these years now, but like, I don't know, like ever since whatever happened with the second person, the second individual, yeah, I have not been able to, like, I would say, network on that same level. I think at the same time too, that goes with me just going to being more independent and just being like, yeah, I think at some point I just stopped trying to network as hard because it was just getting frustrating and tiring and stuff like that. And also, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like networking, at some point, I don't know if it's always been this way, but at least to me, it just got super difficult to try and do any sort of networking and try to be like, hey, I'm this new, or sorry, hey, I'm, you know, I may be new, but I want to get to know you. I want to collab with you. I want to do this and that. Like, it got to the point to where I just couldn't do it. If I tried to connect with anybody, it would result in a lot of things just not connecting. Like, the bridge just wouldn't build, if that really makes sense. Just socially exhausted. I do think it might be that, to be honest, because like I said, I was trying to network a lot when I first started, and then once everything happened, and as well as once I did get a little bit of I don't want to say circle, but a community in a way, that kind of changed, and I was like, all right, I'll slow down for a little bit, and then it just got to the point where it was just like, oh, I don't really want to do this as much as I thought. So I mean, yeah, it just got to the point to where I just couldn't handle trying to network as much as I could have, which kind of led to me not, okay, so there's that, and there's also when I started working overnights and streams became more and more difficult to achieve, consistently, because I would be more tired physically after work, and you know, I really don't like streaming in the, like, in this early hours. I either prefer to stream in, like, the early morning or the early afternoon hours. But I could never do that, because I never could have enough energy to start a stream at, like, 10 o'clock in the morning and go till, like, 2 p.m. or something like that. I tried, but it never really worked out for me, and that's kind of another reason why things just didn't work out for me, streaming wise, and that kind of sucks. I tried several other times to try to do like separate time frames, like instead of mornings and after, like, early afternoons, I try late nights or evenings. I tried to do that, but biggest problem is that I'll say it this way, and this all kind of ties back together to what the topic that I was just mentioning. Another reason why I started being a VTuber was because my personal friend group, my main friend group, right? At least in 2021, it was not at its best. It was very much not at its best. It was it was a mixture of everybody just kind of being tired with each other and stuff. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail at the moment. I'll say it here soon about my friend group because there's some details about them, and honestly speaking, it's the same friend group that I had that's featured in some of the newer videos and older videos on the other side channel. So it's that group of friends, but in 2021, it was not at its peak. Anything but. Probably at its lowest, I would say. And one of my reasonings for wanting to be a VTuber was I wanted to escape that. Honestly, I wanted to escape that group altogether. I was not happy with them at all, and I really felt like getting away from them was probably best for me at the time. And so I tried to be a VTuber and tried to connect with as many people as possible so that I could be in a situation to where I wouldn't have to worry about ditching them. Right? Like, I could still be around them, but they wouldn't be my main group anymore. I would have streaming as either my main group or a community similar to them, right? So that started that. Well, to say the least, immediately things started getting back on track with that, right? So just before I started streaming, just before my initial debut, I actually went to meet up with one of my folks, right, down in Daytona Beach in Florida. I went to Florida for the first time in 2021, just before I debuted, and that was a great fucking time, all things considered. And then once I came back, and then half a year goes by, it's now May. That whole situation happens with the second individual just before this happened, by the way, like maybe a week or two. So that was fun. But just before the end of May, I decided I want to go to the Indy 500 because I like racing and I like the Indy 500. And a group from my friend group decided, let's make it a thing, right? Like, fuck it, right? So me and 4 other folks from that group went to Indianapolis in 2022. And then that's been an ongoing thing for us ever since. It's been 2022, 23, 24, and 25. I'm going to try to go this year, but it's gonna be difficult. Because I am probably going to be moving here very soon. So there's that too. But yeah. Another reason why I have not been wanting to stream lately is because everything's been on the upward trajectory with them, and it's probably at its highest for the last, I would say, at least what I believe is the highest. And I kind of feel bad for wanting to ditch those guys personally, because we've been friends, like this whole group's, we've been friends for over like 10 years now. Like, genuinely speaking, it's a long-standing friendship with these folks, and it's kind of stupid of me to wanting to get back, or get away from them, I guess I'll say. But yeah, that's kind of why I just haven't been streaming all together, right? Like, because I've felt closer connected with that group. I've just been like, that's just kind of how, like, I guess it wasn't a bad idea to be a VTuber because of that. But with everything that transponded between, oh yeah, I should also mention too, the reason why I don't stream in the afternoons or in the evening is because that's when that group is active. So, and I'd like to be involved in whatever they're doing, even if it isn't a whole lot, right? So it's kind of hard for me to be a VTuber and stream while trying to not be like, oh, I'm a VTuber to them, because that's just not what I want. They don't know, like, that's the thing too. They don't know that I'm a VTuber. If any of them do know, it's been very like, it's like a very small thing that they know, right? I know I told one, if not two of them, but it was like it was a thing where it was like, hey, listen, don't make a big deal out of this, don't say anything, don't do it, and they haven't, right? I don't think they know that I still kinda do it, but it's not like it's gonna matter after today anyways, but like, you know, they are not huge on anime, so they aren't gonna be like huge fans of me as Wyatt, so that's kind of like why I didn't say anything. So that's one thing. So if they cared about anime and VTubers, I probably would have been more like, oh, look at me, but no, that just that didn't happen. So there's that. But yeah. So I mean, I tried to make VTubing work. I really did, but it just, between me not wanting to socially interact as much after my first year, and then moving jobs to overnight, which caused me to only really be able to stream in the early morning hours instead of the afternoons, kind of hindered me a little bit, because I didn't really like streaming in the morning, or like so like my time frame for when I really do want to stream is like 9 a.m. to like 3 p.m. And anytime I had that ability, I would like, if I had that ability, I'd be streaming more, right? Like that's a thing, because I've enjoyed streaming during those times the most, and I feel like it's the most opportunistic. I don't know, like not necessarily in a growth kind of way, but just because it's like like anytime I've streamed at 9 a.m. and gone more than 2 hours, it's a lot more than just 2 hours, because it's actually really, like, in terms of in my opinion, it's probably the best time for me whenever I stream. But that's because I feel like the vibes are off the charts in the morning over here. But that's that. I don't really enjoy streaming in like the overnight midnight hours, because I just don't think much happens during that time frame. Because everybody's asleep and all that over here in the States. And also whenever I'm on my off days, there was a few times where I was like, yeah, I could probably stream during that time. But anytime I thought about doing that, I realized that I don't actually, oh man. Yeah. I just kind of prefer just doing nothing. I think at some point I just stopped wanting to stream altogether, because it just, you know, things change over the course of years. I really thought I was going to be one of those streamers that wasn't going to quit, because I kind of thought like, oh, I was going to enjoy it. But then like I stopped. I took a break for a while, and like during that time I was like, man, you know, this kind of is a little enjoyable. And then like I would have those kinds of breaks every so often, and it was like, oh, I'm slowly realizing that this might be something that I gotta do more often, right? Because like I say that, but it's like I enjoy streaming and just talking, right? But at the same time, I just don't have the time to do it as much anymore. So like it's kind of like it kind of sucks, because I know I could do it, but I just don't have the time, and because of that, not as much passion, right? So but I guess if there is anything to go off on, I guess I might still stream on the other side. I don't think it'll be as often, and I think that's actually going to be better for me. Just stream whenever I feel like streaming and chatting and doing whatever, right? whether with face cam or whether just with something on in the background or whatever. More than likely, probably face cam, but I don't know. I don't think I'll be streaming as super often, but like there's definitely nights where I'm probably going to do that because I've been, you know, I kind of want to do, I kind of want to stream, maybe not as often, but I do want to stream still, right? But it really depends on a number of factors, especially later this year. Which kind of leads me into what the future holds for me, personally and creatively speaking. Okay. I will say first and foremost, music-wise, I'm still going to create music under the Wyatt Natus name, right? And there's an oddly specific reason as to why. So, here's the thing. When I created my artist page on Spotify and every other streaming service, I did it. This is very difficult for me to explain it, but I'll try my best. After that, hope the final stream goes well. Look forward to ahead. Thank you very much, Zero. Thank you for stopping in and following me on the future journey ahead. I appreciate you very much. Anyways. When I created the artist page, I did it in a way to where in order for me to create anything new, like a new page or a new, like, start all over again, I have to jump through, like, so many fucking hoops because I crisscrossed emails between everything on accident, and whenever I verified these pages, I fucked up doing so. I mean, it worked. They're verified, but I can't verify a second artist page. So that kind of fucked me out of doing that. And you can't just change the names the same way that you can change a username on Twitter or Blue Sky or on wherever else, like Discord. You can't just change your username willy-nilly. You gotta jump through a lot more legal hoops than you think, which sucks. Understandable? Yes. So I just figured I'm not gonna go through that process. I'm just gonna keep the name. I think it'll be fine. Like, yeah, it's a, you know, out from an outsider's perspective, honestly speaking, try not to overthink it. I don't think it's gonna really matter. You could just probably say like, oh, it's an artist page with, you know, this guy's artist name. It's not like, you know, yeah, I would have preferred either my personal name or whatever, but it's like, it's an artist page. Like, let me just be creative for a namesake, right? Like, who cares? Who cares? Like, it's no big deal. It won't be that big of a deal. So there's that. I do actually plan on releasing music later this year. I've been in the works with trying to get stuff going for later this year. Don't know when, but I'm gonna try to get something out at least sometime this year. I'd like to get at least a few things out every single year, if possible. Just because I have the ability to do so. It's just I haven't had the time either to like sit down and work on a music project, which sucks because every fucking night that I'm at work, I just get nothing but ideas. But I don't have a laptop. I have a desktop tower, so I plan on getting a laptop here sooner rather than later. And when I do, oh, there will be some. Ooh, I got music projects that I want to work on at work. Because I know I can. I got the time to do it. So, if I can get those done, then I'll be able to work on a lot more than just like 1 or 2 things a year, musically speaking. So, there's that. YP isn't a bad name for a producer. You're not wrong. Too bad I can't change it as easily as I want. So. So yeah. Musically speaking, still gonna create stuff under this name. Nothing's gonna change there for good, and like, you know, you can take it for good, take it for bad. I see it as just kind of like, it sucks, but I'm not gonna fret over it. I want to keep my track record, my discography with, and all that. I don't want to, you know, start all over again because I can't rename it. I'm not gonna be that angry about it, I guess. So creatively speaking, for the future, I do plan on continuing to make videos, obviously from the link that I posted earlier in chat. I still want to do stuff creatively speaking. In fact, I will say this. I've enjoyed editing videos a whole lot more than I thought. It's not that I hated editing videos. It's just, as a streamer, I never thought I really wanted to. Right? Like, if I wanted clips, could find it easily in the VODs and clip it, put it on YouTube, there you go. Right? If I wanted a compilation, easily could do that from the clips. If I wanted any sort of like I never really wanted to edit videos as a VTuber. I just really wanted to just stream and maybe post some clips here or there. That's that. But I never hated editing. Some of the videos that are coming out, not only like today, or not today, sorry, but like, a lot of the videos that I've been creating have been some of my favorite, little edits that I've done. And it's been super enjoyable to do. I'm not even saying like I'm good at it. I just think that they're, you know, a good quality video, right? I've trimmed down like hours of gaming content down to like several parts that are like 20 minutes long, or like, I guess 15 minutes long, or a singular video that may be a bit longer. But like, I enjoy editing videos, so I want to start doing that more. So I have been doing that on the other side. And like I said, it's been really enjoyable. I have not, that's really the only thing I want to do. There's some different styles that I want to do. It's different genres of videos that I want to do later. I talked about it during one of my main videos that's on there. If you go to the channel, it's like the first video you'll probably see, but aka the face reveal video. But yeah, a lot of that is backlogged videos that I've been wanting to upload, so those are going to get uploaded for the next couple of weeks, maybe months, I don't know. So creatively speaking, still not out of it. I want to continue making stuff, music and video wise. Personally, this is where things are going to get a little spicy for those wanting to follow me in the future. Right? Whoops. Okay. So, first things first. I still want to move out of this country. And I'm still in the works. Sadly, I cannot provide any good updates yet, other than I'm like getting closer and closer to attempting to move. And I don't think I don't want to say it's going to work 100% because, you know, it might not work out. I might not be able to. I'm just going to fucking try, and that's all I can do, right? Like there's not much to it. Like I can't forcibly in my current state, I can't necessarily force myself to move forever. out of this country. I can only try to with going to Japan. So I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of thinking and trying like different routes and stuff like that. My only thing is that financially speaking, I just don't have the means of doing it securely. I don't know. Like, what I mean by that is, like, I would have loved to have moved for 2 years as a student and then see where it goes from there. Maybe I can go to university or something like that. Hell, I thought about going to university over there, but the problem is that I don't have enough language power under my belt. So I've been trying to study up on it. And that's another thing too with streaming. Because I've been streaming, I've been like slightly neglecting my learning of Japanese. So because of that, I'm kind of having to like step on the gas a little bit more, and hopefully this year will be a year where I can finally start taking it a bit more seriously. I've never been good at learning either, especially self-studies, so I'll tell myself to, like, yeah, I gotta do it, but then, like, I start doing it, and then I start dreading it, and then I, you know, fall behind, and then I start dreading it more because now I have to play catch-up while studying. That's not great. So I've never been good at it, but I'm trying my best to, like, fix that. But, yeah, I thought about going to university to start over in Japan, but that hasn't really worked in my favor. So quick story. This happened last month while we're on the subject of university. I applied to a university that really... I applied to a university with a lot of English potential, which means that they accepted a lot of foreign students, right, over in Japan. If you know the school I'm talking about, you know that I was trying to apply to this school. But one of their things is that you have to do a recorded interview, which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. They're pretty strict on a few things, application-wise, but, like, all understandable necessarily. So during this interview process, you have to be basically as yourself as possible while also being as much of a shill as possible to the college, because you have to meet their views and expectations and blah, 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 blah. My GPU's not great by any means of the stretch, but I don't think they give a shit. I think as long as the interview goes good, you'll be fine, I guess. That's what I've been told. But so in this interview, they specifically write in their, like, rules and guides and stuff like that to not have your phone with you or around you during the recorded interview. Mind you, this interview, once a video starts recording, you cannot stop it or do a retake of it. I mean, you can stop it once you got, like, less than a couple seconds, but you can't pause it, you can't redo it. So anything that happens in that video, it's getting sent, whether you like it or not. You want to guess what happened while I was taking that recorded interview? This happened very early on, might I add, too, so this fucked me over big time early on. Yeah, spoiler alert, the phone went off. Ringer on and all. I mean, my ringer was turned off, but it was my fucking alarm, because I was trying to wake up early that day. I woke up earlier than the alarm, didn't shut it off. It went off during the fucking interview. So I doubt that's gonna happen. I doubt that interview is gonna get me into the school. So that kind of takes me out of that for the time being. So I thought I was doing really good too, and then the fucking phone went off during the recording, and I was just like, yeah, that ended that. That ended that. I mean, they haven't officially told me anything yet, because they're gonna wait until next month when they'll tell me, but got no hope in that. Like, there's a 1 if that % chance that I'll get into that school because of that fucking flop of it. That sucked. That, like, really fucking sucked for me because I was really confident. I'm like genuinely speaking, that school, I was like very confident that my interview was going to be a fucking top of the iceberg level interview. Like it was going to be, I was going to crush it. I was very confident. I was very motivated. I was very like I had good answers to all of their questions. This was even after the alarm went off too. So that's like, if it didn't go off, I'd pretty much be in that school later this year, getting my bachelor's. But that didn't work. So there's that. So the only thing left for me to do at this point for what I want to do is I gotta apply to a language school for a year and hope that something can happen during that 1 year stretch. Like I said, I don't know if it's gonna work. I can't tell the future that far, but I want to move permanently out of this country, and I'm desperate to do so. So I can really only go for 1 year, because if I try to go for 2 years and financially save for 2 years, I'm going to be in my fucking 30s by the time that happens. I don't want to move when I'm in my 30s. I want to move while I'm still less than that in years of age. So, you know, I'd like to at least try to move while I still have time. And if it doesn't work, I don't fucking know. I'll try somewhere else or try something else, or I don't know. I'm going to try not to be too desperate, but I'm also trying to be desperate enough to where I can make something happen. But yeah, like, the reason why I'm so dead set on Japan, might I add, is because when I visited there, I just felt it was really nice, right? Like, I enjoyed Germany a lot when I visited there a couple years ago as well. But man, I've been a fan of Japanese culture ever since like the early 2010s. Necessarily, I wasn't like huge into it, but you know, growing up, I played a lot of games that were focused in Japan. I read. Yeah, who could tell that I was a fan of Japanese culture? Could you tell? I don't think so. Well, how could you? Anyways, yeah, when I was in like the school and stuff like that, I think it was like during the time when Japan was starting to become more of a like hot topic in America. In terms of like people in school were wearing shirts that had kanji on it. I've been fascinated, or like I've been interested in it. Not fascinated necessarily, but interested in it since my early days. And as I was growing up, I realized that the culture, or not necessarily the culture, but like the everything that I would see from photos and videos just looked super cool from there. Like the mount, like I've always been a nature person. I mean, if you look at some of the, like, if you look at my photography side of things, I'm very much a naturistic person. I really love nature, but I never really have a chance to go and explore it. But when I went to Germany, that kind of kickstarted it, because there was some good nature sceneries around Munich where I was in. Obviously, it's kind of dumb to say, like, I like nature when, like, I'm also a city folk, but I like a good mix. But yeah. When I went to Germany, I thought that was really nice, a nice place. I don't know if I would live there. Maybe I could, but wouldn't hurt. But yeah. You get tired of cities. Well, like, here's the thing, right? So, I don't live in a city. I live in a place where I could see a lot of nature. And I do, but, like, the thing is with me, I like cities, but I also like the outside areas too, right? So it's kind of like a good mix of both. Tired of the Western nature. Yeah, that's another thing too, right? anything that I could see in terms of nature that isn't from America is considered nice to me, for the most part. But yeah, anyways, when I went to Japan, that all kind of just like when I visited, it just kind of went boom. Like the whole, my photogenic side just went haywire. Feel like a Navi there. The jungles aren't necessarily too bad for me. Like, I think, because like here's the thing, right? Because I like taking photos. I like taking I like being a photogenic person, right? I don't have like one of those big cameras or anything like that. A lot of the photos that I take are just from my phone. But you know, I haven't been able to completely dive into that hobby completely. And I also don't think it's bad to take photos from the phone, necessarily. So, I mean, I just kind of like, I try to like not go overboard with saying I'm a photographer, because that's really not true. But I like doing it as a nice little hobby, right? So there's that. When I visited Japan, I was in love, to say the least, with nature, right? Like, I was in Osaka, but damn, there were some good areas even around Osaka that had some amazing, like the scenery, like city skylines are, so for me, right, there's two things that I love getting photos of, and like, it's very much them two at the top. It's city skylines at night and mountain views, right? I got a photo of Kyoto skyline while I was like almost at the top of a mountain, and it's one of my favorite photos of all time, right? Like, I love the photos that I took of Japan just because of the fact that the scenery and all that just was spectacular. It was so good. So yeah, my love for Japan comes from basically growing up, not necessarily around it, but around like the influence and the culture around it, and then getting to know it more and more, both good and bad sides of it, and understanding that, you know, it's not going to be a perfect place, but I don't give a shit. Like, the scenery's fucking awesome, and and like the food that I had was great. So, I mean, growing up basically a weeb, I mean, you could say that. I mean, I never really wanted to be like that person that was like, you know, I don't want to be that over the top weeb, because they always get the bad reps, and I don't want to be one of those guys. I just, like, you know, anytime, like, somebody's asking me, like, oh, do you like Japan because of anime? It's like, not really. I got into anime later than, yeah, like, I got into anime, like, later than, so, yeah, like, it was kind of like for me, it was, like, the pictures and the videos surrounding, like, the mountains and the areas around it. It wasn't like the cities like Tokyo or Kyoto, but it was just more so like the mountains, like Fuji and Kita and stuff like that. I think, yeah. So like the mountains and the areas around it made me really want to visit it. And man, like, what really has been making me stress out about this move to Japan is there are two places I want to move to, and they both have such good highs and lows, and I don't want to say highs and lows, pros and cons, that it kind of sucks that I have to pick one or the other, right? So the first one is Kobe. I want to move to Kobe because it's a good mix of not the big cities, but not the small towns either. Like, it's a big city still, but comparing Kobe to a city here in America is like going to Fort Worth or San Diego, California, or even Philadelphia, right? But nicer, out of all those three. Also, I've legitimately been to Kobe. Like, I can say I've been to Kobe before, so I know the place a little bit, and it was a really fucking nice place. Super nice during the springtime. And I feel like I would love it if I was there for a year or more plus, right? That would be awesome. That would be a great place for me to be at. And I really wish that could be a place that I moved to. But there is a second place. A second place has hit the places I want to move list. And it's Kofu. Now, if you don't know where Kofu is, look up where Mount Fuji is, and look to the north, I think it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. Hold on, give me a second. I think it's to the north of it. Let me look. I believe it is to the north. Let me zoom out of the fucking Sahara Desert. Why am I here? Alright, let me look. Yeah, to the north. Northwest. It's in Yamanashi. Now, there's also another reason why I also want to move to Kofu that isn't just because of Mount Fuji. So, if you take a wild guess as to what one of my favorite animes is, like an anime that I will clearly say is like top tier for me, like I would say almost number one, if not number one. Actually, I will say number one because I can't think of one any better than another one better than it. It's the Yuru series, right? I have, ever since I started watching it, Yuru has become like the all-time for me for fucking anime. And one of the reasons why I've been wanting to move to Kofu is because it's in Yamanashi, where that anime takes place at. And it is just straight up fucking peak. Not only would I be basically around the area that the series takes place in, but I'd be damn near close to Mount Fuji. I would fucking kill to be in that place. And I have an opportunity, and I have a choice of doing that. But there's there's some cons to both of these, and I'll start with Kofu. I've always had a little soft spot for the Kansai region of Japan, right? There's a reason why I visited Osaka and Kyoto and Kobe when I did. And that's because I love that area, right? The Kansai area, the Hyugo prefecture, it's one of my, it's just, for some reason, I don't know why, that's the area I love the most. I don't know if it has to do with my love for Dotonbori. But yeah, and like the entirety of the Kansai area is just like that took my heart first out of anything else, right? So Kofu would be far away from that. And it would be closer to Tokyo than elsewhere, right? So a part of me doesn't like the idea. I've never been a huge fan of Tokyo. Like, that's the thing, right? Everybody loves Tokyo. Everybody will always clamor to it first. I can't. I say it's one of these cities where I'm actually kind of like the hardcore opposite. Where I'm just like, I'm not a fan of Tokyo. I think it's not... It is legitimately only because of the fact that I think that it is way too overpopulated and oversaturated by everybody that is fascinated with Japan. I understand it, and I'm not saying it's completely bad. I'm just saying, like, to me, like, I don't want to be one of those guys that goes to Japan and says, like, oh, I love Japan so much, and then I'm in Tokyo. I don't want to be generic. I'm sorry. Like, I get I get why you would want to go to Tokyo. Obviously, with it being more English-centered than everywhere else, it's a lot easier for people to go to that. But no, for me, I want to go elsewhere. I want to enjoy a little bit more scenery than fucking buildings and cities and cement and asphalt and people and yeah, holy shit. There's too many people for the most part. Kofu wouldn't have as many people, so there's that. But at the same time, like I said, I also want to have a place where I can at least have everything around me within a reasonable time frame, right? Like, that's why I visited Osaka. That's kind of why I went over to Kobe as well, because I really want to see if I can handle the bustling city life, because I've never been. Like, legitimately, if you want a full list of the big cities that I have been to in my somewhat short life, it's not huge whatsoever. Let me count. I've been to Chicago, I've been to Indianapolis, I've been to Daytona, which I wouldn't even say is that big. It's not that big. It gets busy, but it's not super big. So I don't know if I would count Daytona in Florida. I've been to Cleveland. I'm not gonna necessarily count Detroit. I've been to Belle Isle for an IndyCar race, but not necessarily. I don't know. I guess Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor is kind of huge. Anywhere else in America? Not really. There's also Munich, and also Osaka, Kyoto, and Kobe, like I just mentioned. Maybe 10 cities at most, if I could think of one more. Like, maybe 10 cities at most. I doubt any more than that. And a lot of those are not, like, massively long either. I think a combined total would be like, the longest was a month and a half when I went to Japan. I think the next would be, I mean, I've been to Indianapolis, a combined total of a month and a week. I think a month and a half for Indianapolis, because I'd stay there at least once a week, or sorry, a week every year. I'm there, for the most part. Chicago, I've only been to twice, because I've actually, a couple times if you count me flying into and out of the airport. I've been to it. Okay, so I've been to Atlanta for like a breath because of a layover, and I guess Taipei as well for a breath because of a layover. That's crazy to me that I've also been to Taiwan. I always keep forgetting that, but yeah, I've been to Taiwan technically. That's that. Technically 12 if you want to count the layovers that I've been at, but yeah. Maybe like 3 months. No. Ever been to Malaysia? Not yet. No, not yet. I've been wanting to strike up that area though. Either go to I don't know though. Singapore's fucking expensive. I've been wanting to go there, but I don't have the money for Singapore. But like Malaysia, at some point, I do want to get over to both Malaysia and Manila. Like, those are two areas that I do want to go get to at some point. So, because I've always been fascinated, not just with Japan, but also, like, the Southeast Asia area, the sea area. Not necessarily, like, completely, but, like, I do want to travel to Manila and also a couple places in Malaysia as well. They've always kind of been on my list. especially recently, but it's hard to, like, if I didn't have this plan to move to Japan, I'd be fucking traveling all over the goddamn area. I kind of think I should, but again, I don't think I would have enough time to do all that and still save up to move. So I gotta do what I gotta do now with moving and wait until I'm more settled to do any sort of traveling. If I go anywhere else outside of the country, it's gonna have to wait a little bit. Unfortunately, I hate saying that. I don't really want to be that guy that travels while I'm trying to settle. But if I could get settled quickly, and the quicker the better, I could be more of a traveler. I really wish, like, there was a few opportunities where I was like, maybe I could get a job where I could travel the world, but that's kind of hard to do nowadays, so that sucks. But yeah, I mean, I was really hoping that would pan out that way, but it didn't really work. But if I can, I'll venture out that way sometime soon. I don't know. I'd like to at least see if I could get myself settled in Japan, anyhow, because it would be really, really nice to get out of this country any way possible. The unfortunate thing is like I said, financially speaking, I have not been, like, the plan is that I want to be out of here by the end of this year, but I don't think it's going to happen at the end of this year. It'll have to be, like, early next year, but, like, that's fine, right? Because that was, like, the initial plan anyways, after a while. But I was hoping that it was going to be for, like, 2 years as a international student initially, because I'd like to be able to say, like, oh, at least for 2 years I'll be in Japan, so I'll be able to, you know, not stress out over the future that quickly. Because a year is not very long, if anything, right? Like, we're already in February. January blinked by that quickly, so I would like to, I would have liked to have 2 years under my belt, knowing that all I needed to do was just make it work for 2 years and see if I could find a job. Now, okay, that's hard to say because I do not have a degree. So there's two, like, to me, with this move, there's 2 routes, and I'll gladly accept either route as long as one of them is given, right? I can either go to university, because I actually haven't been to university yet, because in America, it's a scam, a full-on scam. I'm not... It's also, so, it's super expensive here in America, and it's also worthless. So, genuinely, like, I grew up in a generation where I was told that college is, like, your best ticket of getting any sort of a job, and I'm glad I barely followed that advice. I almost did, but thankfully, I was too directionless as a high school student to be in a situation where I just didn't go to college because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing in high school. So because of that, I didn't want to go to college because I was like, I don't want to go to college and then, you know, not figure out what I'm doing until it's too late. I want to figure it out first. So I didn't go to college, and then pandemic happened, and now it's like, all right, cool. So why go to college? And now it's like, all right, so if I go to college here in America, guess what? I'll spend 4 years worth of college tuition, be fucking tens of thousands of dollars in debt for God knows how long. Hey, if I get a degree in something, that's cool. What am I going to use it for, though? Because no one's going to fucking hire me. And now I'm unhireable in other categories of work, too, because I'm overqualified. Like, if I was overqualified, I would be wanting to work at a fucking McDonald's. But, you know, it's fucking useless. Like, the degrees are basically useless here in America. And so I'm like, all right, so if I could get a opportunity to go to university elsewhere in the world, I'll gladly accept it. I may not be that much in debt. I may still be in debt a lot, but not as much. And there's a possibility I could use that degree elsewhere and maybe in that same country. So if I could go to a university in Japan when after I move, I'll gladly accept it. I think I have the ability to do that. I hope. If that happens, I don't know. But that's what I'm thinking. Is it realistic? Is it possible? Probably not, but let me at least be a little optimistic in this choice of mine. The second option, and this one's a bit trickier, but it's a little bit more possible because of my given experience in the work in the industry. I could get a job and have a full-time job, and that full-time job could then sponsor my visa. So I could see if I could get a job at a hotel, because I work at a hotel right now. I've been working at a hotel for the last several years now. So because of that, the added experience goes good on the resume, and if anybody's willing to hire a foreigner that doesn't have a whole lot of Japanese experience while still wanting to get Japanese experience, there could be that route where that could be my mode of entry or way of entry. I have no idea though, because like I said, I can only financially afford 1 year of the school at the moment. Kind of wish Extremely worked out a little bit more so I could have funded it through a subathon. What? I didn't say that. But yeah, if I can make that work out in 1 year, I think we'll be good. Now, I don't necessarily need 2 years of a language school. I don't think. I think a year and a half would have been sufficeable. But man, would it be a whole lot fucking better if I was able to go for 2 years, knowing that, you know, if things don't work out immediately, I don't have to worry. Because I have to make things work almost immediately while I'm in Japan. Like, everything has to go smooth. Like, smooth in order for things to work out for me in Japan. So I just think that it is possible to... I do think it might be possible for me to make this whole thing work, but it's gonna be fucking tough. But I'm willing to take this challenge, so fuck it. I'm desperate enough. I might be able to, like, reapply for the APU college, right? I might be able to. Oh, I gave it away. Well, who cares? I might be able to reapply, right? Because the thing is that I could easily do that anytime I can. They'll accept multiple applications as long as it's a different intake date. But it's harder to get into the April intake than it is the September intake, because they have two different intakes and they're both difficult, but one's more difficult than the other, if you can believe that. So it sadly just means, though, that I have to wait until, like, this same time next year in order for me to have a better chance at getting into the university. But by that point already, I'm already at my decision to go to a language school for a year. So that still may be on the table, even while I'm over there, but it's gonna take a little bit more, luck than I initially think. Because again, my GPA isn't that great. And I never did take a standardized, I think that's the term, college test. Because my school never had that. So my school was that fucking small. And shit. So I've been at a disadvantage for the last several years because of my GPA in my high school. I don't even know if GPAs are even worth anything outside of America. I don't even know. Are they even, are grade point averages, like, that useful still? Because, like, I get it, like, both ways where somebody's like, they do matter, they don't matter. Like, I don't know, like, do colleges look at that still, or do they look at something else? I've always felt like that's, debate, I guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. Hard for me to say, hard for me to tell. I don't know. So by the way, if anybody is watching over on YouTube, that link that I sent earlier does actually work. I sent it through Twitch, but it also sent through YouTube as well, so that works out fine. Ain't that cool? I am hoping, though, that everything works out for me because, yeah, okay, so outside of that, right, like, I got glasses. Just happened recently, but I took a vision test and so my family genetics are not that great. Vision-wise, so I've known for years that I was probably gonna have to get glasses at some point because, yeah, it's not just one side of my family, it's on both, where, vision is, not necessarily our strong suit, even if we eat as healthy as any other family, but yeah, my family has never been that visionly healthy. Like pretty much everybody in my family, I mean everybody, wears either contacts or glasses. I used to wear them, but like that was back when I was in like elementary school, and even then it was like for like a few months, and then I started to stop wearing them because I didn't like them. And then once I got through like elementary school and middle school and then high school, I just didn't wear them at all, maybe once or twice, but only for like nostalgia purposes, because I didn't think my vision was that bad. It wasn't like perfect, but it wasn't bad. But then I took a vision test recently and I found out that things are starting to get to the point to where I might need them a little bit more often than not. So they're like, they say I need to wear these all the time. I haven't really been because I haven't really had the need to. I'll put them on every once in a while just to see if I can start getting used to them. But like, it's mostly when I've been like reading and stuff like that. So it hasn't necessarily been an everyday occurrence that I've been wearing them. I'll wear them for a few hours every day, and that's that, just to keep getting used to them and stuff like that. But yeah, they are a strong pair of glasses, to say the least. Like, these things are extreme. I know once I get used to them, my fucking vision outside these glasses is gonna deteriorate so bad. I could tell, because this is a strong, these lenses are strong. I think they went overboard on them, but that's just me. So I don't know. I'm hoping that works. that works out and I could fucking see better with these on, because it's not much of a difference. I'll tell you what, it's not that big of a difference between wearing these and not wearing these. So I'm more farsighted than anything else, but a lot of the shit that I read's up close anyways, so it's not like I've had any issues or had any need, I guess, to wear these, because everything that I read up on is close and not far. So if I need anything farsighted, if I read anything farsighted, I'll need the glasses, but that's really all I've been seeing the use for lately. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this year, though, because I have a lot of ideas, and creatively speaking, and I also think that this could be a turning point for me. It's just, you know, like I said, like, it's unfortunate that I have to basically call it quits as a VTuber after all is said and done. And truth be told, I don't think this will be like, well, this is going to be like the end, right? But I do think there will be some times where I'll continue to stream, or I'll probably bring back the character for like a one and done deal. But I'm not going to sit here and confidently say like, oh, this will be like an announcement for like a height. No, this is like a straight up like, the moment I click the stop streaming button, we're done. I'm done being a VTuber, right? For better or for worse, because the last 2-ish years, I have been growing more and more inconsistent over streaming, and I have not felt like I have been wanting to stream as much as I used to. And then there's also the personal side of things as well, where my friends started becoming more of a like legitimate group again. And because of that, I've had less availability to stream, and then also with working and stuff like that, it kind of made it to where there was like very little to no time for me to stream every single day. And any time that I was streaming, there was a lot of thoughts where I would be streaming, and at the end of the stream, I would be like, was that really worth it in the end? Did anything happen that made me feel like that was well worth the stream or two? The stream. So, you know, there has been a few off days, and you know, I've tried not to let it get to me, because everybody has those days and stuff like that, especially as a streamer. You get put on quite a level of a pedestal, and, you know, for yourself, at least mentally speaking, and it gets tough. It gets tough to stream consistently and be at 100% when, you know, you have one bad day and it kind of just all trembles down. So, I mean, I understand from the I understand from a streamer's perspective how being a streamer is very taxing and very stressful. I get it. As somebody that tried to stream for a while, it has not been sunshine and rainbows. It's been anything but. So, I mean, One thing that I will say, I mentioned this during the... I think I mentioned this during the graduation announcement. No, I think it was during the stream itself afterwards, where I was like, yeah, I might be doing a video for the VTuber racing series. To put a bow tie on that series. That was something that I was trying to do at some point, but I realized that the project itself was way too much for me to handle. Not the VTuber racing thing itself, but the video for it to end it all off. So, as unfortunate as it's gonna be, there really is no end to that series, no clear conclusion to that series. I hate saying that because I really don't want to end the series like that. I really think a conclusion would have been best. I would have loved to have done a conclusion video to that, but it just never happened. I couldn't get the time, and I couldn't get it to work out the way that I wanted it to. I wanted to do it in like a highlight package kind of way, where I went through every single race in more detail than before. But I realized as I was doing that it was going to take a lot more than I wanted to make that happen. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's like a lot more effort, it was a lot harder than what the result would have, given. I wouldn't have been satisfied no matter how I make the video, right? Because I don't think it would have been worth it at all. Like, to me, I don't think that many people would have cared all that much. In the end. So, I kind of just I had to scrap it. I hate saying that, but that's just the very unfortunate side of it. I had to scrap it. And it sucks, but I didn't want to put too much energy into something that was going to get very little in return. So, I don't know how I don't know how I could provide a conclusion. I don't know if I can, really. So, if there was ever a reason for me to break that rule, or not rule, but just like bend it a little bit to where it's like, hey, listen, I know I said I wasn't going to do anything afterwards, but trust me on this one. Like, that would be like maybe the one and only time. Maybe. A very understandable thing to do. Just kind of be like, hey, listen, like this was a series that I started. I kind of want to conclude it, so yeah. Personally, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna go at this, because I hit that 2-hour mark, but I don't necessarily want to end it. I really wish YouTube didn't change when the fucking... They did change, so I can't see how long stream's been going. Oh no, it's up at the top right. Never mind. I'm stupid. The new layout caught me off guard for a second. No, it's okay. So we did hit that 2-hour mark. I'll go for a little bit longer though, because it is the last stream, so I'm not gonna end it right now. But I have been talking nonstop for like an hour and a half straight, basically. So it's been kind of rough on my throat, and I only have so much water left until it's gone. I mentioned this already, but I'll re-mention it anyways. I really did not intend on basically not streaming at all from the rest of last year into now, because I really wanted to try and see if something could happen with streaming. I really wanted to continue it. I really wanted to get stuff going again for one final run, but I just started editing more. I started doing stuff more on the other side of things, and I just kept at it because I enjoyed it. And because of that, I was at it. When I say I was at it, because it just was... It was just something that I wanted to get done. And I enjoyed editing a whole lot more than I thought, so I just kept going at it. So... So I really want to continue editing, and I really wanted to do that. So that's kind of why I just stopped. And I mean, between it all, I really do wish that, I really do wish that this worked out more, because I hate the idea of, like, okay, I mean, on one hand, I hate that I'm stepping away from being a VTuber. I really hate that, I'm stepping away from streaming, because it really does feel like I could easily make this work if I was more consistent and if I had the time to, like, if I was, you know, able to work within my time frame and all that. Because I'll always say it, but like, the reason why I failed was because of my inconsistencies, right? I never could keep a consistent schedule, and I never could actually, like, create a streaming schedule that I could consistently rely on, because I was just never able to make it work, right? At first I was able to because I was working second shifts. And then once I started working thirds, that's when it all went to hell. Because if anybody OG remembers, if any OGers remember when I first started streaming, I streamed pretty decently because I was a second shift worker at fucking McDonald's, right? So I was able to get home at a recently decent time and stream. And then when I wasn't working, I could have more time to stream or start earlier, right? Or at least be up earlier to then stream more, right? So yeah, but then once I started working second shift, that kind of all switched away. And I could either do like a stream before I go to work or whatever, but it still never worked out. Nothing worked out. And I kind of hate that. I kind of wish it did work out. I kind of wish that I was a bit more consistent, but I feel like no matter what, though, something was going to happen to where this decision was going to be made regardless. I think it's because of the fact that it's like, yeah, my plan for moving is still a big plan, and I think that would have done a lot to contribute to me wanting to not stream anymore. And another factor is I've always had a plan that I was going to go back to being a Japanaholic. Right, because I planned on using this as a platform to stream and having the other channel be used for making videos. But the reality of the situation is that it's nowhere close to the same level. And I do not want to I mean, like, yeah, I could change that. And I know that I could have. But the idea is, I don't think with how inconsistent and with how much of a bottom of the barrel priority that streaming is going to become for me after today, and I would say even before today, the last several months, I don't think being a VTuber would have been worth the investment or worth the really worth anything, if that makes sense, right? I just think it's a very unfortunate situation to be involved in for anybody, because I don't really like doing these kinds of streams. Trust me, I don't, because it sucks. But you know, I really don't want to continue down a path that just hasn't been working. And I'd much rather focus on editing videos. I'd much rather focus on doing other things, adventuring differently, creatively speaking. And I really don't want to... I just think eventually it was going to happen, right? Eventually it was going to happen where I was going to have to stop being a VTuber and things were just going to taper off into a more personal, creative space for me, but... it still sucks. There's really not much I could have, like, yeah, I know, it's a me decision. I could decide to come back. I could decide to, you know, say, fuck this. I hate that I graduated. I want to come back and re-debut. And I could. There's nothing stopping me. Obviously, it's respectful. It's respectful to the VTuber culture and the VTuber industry as a whole. That's like, hey, listen, if you're going to be gone, you're probably going to be gone forever, and if you're probably going to be gone forever, graduate. Sure, that's what I'll do. The Discord is going to be deleted. The Twitch. Practically dormant. I don't know if I want to delete it because I have followed so many people on here that I really don't want to just delete it and have to go refollow everybody again. Honestly speaking, probably just going to use it more as a viewer account than anything else. And of course the YouTube channel, at least this one that you're on right now, not gonna be active. In terms of the channel itself, I might still use it. Same thing with like the Twitch. I don't think I'm gonna like dormant it completely. I think I'll still like be slightly active on it. I don't know though. Kind of just, I think it's just mostly going to be used for me to try to get through my watch later playlist and just let it be that, because it's quite a huge watch later list, and I personally would like to go through it if I can, or at least go through some of it still every once in a while. Not all the time, but maybe every once in a while if there's stuff that I want to watch at least. I don't know. But it does say a lot. When, you know, ever since I started being a VTuber, I stopped really watching. I stopped watching anime and I stopped really reading mangas and stuff like that. When I became a VTuber. And then as soon as I made that announcement video and started thinking less of a VTuber and more of a Japanaholic, I ended up watching stuff all over again and went back to being a pretty good level weeb. I think otaku is a good name. So, I mean, I was, I mean, all this, right? And I still haven't really talked about the fact that, like, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas came and went, and I haven't really talked about how mine was. I really kind of did that on purpose because it really wasn't anything much. I say that in a good way because I visited family on both of those holidays, both sides family. I went to my mom's side for Thanksgiving, and that was really nice and enjoyable for what it was. And on my dad's side as well, went to Thanksgiving. So I was pretty busy during the holiday season. And it wasn't completely perfect by any means. There were some hiccups, but I'm not going to sit here and complain. The holiday season's never really been that smooth between everybody, so you got to take what you can get and just kind of let it be. So I did get a really long light strip for Christmas, though, which covers up like basically half of my computer room, which has been a real big help for me lately, because the lights, they're not like super bright, but because it's a big strip of lights, it's quite a lot. It lights up pretty much the entire space, so it's a lot more brighter at night. So unfortunately, like, the last few strip lights that I've had weren't necessarily the biggest, so they could only cover like a part of the room, which was just where the computer was. So I haven't really been able to like experience the computer room being like completely bathed in LED lights, but it's been nice. I have it set to fading all different sorts of colors, which has been really nice. The last light strip that I had, though, was really cool because it was more customizable with its colors, and I was able to like make it to where the colors would chase each other. So it was, you know, it was cool, but this one not really. Can only do so much. But if things end up getting better, they really fucking did that to her? Wow. Alright, fuck you. Jesus Christ. Fucking favorite character got nerfed in a patch. Anyways, I really can't even talk much about like recent stuff that's been going on in the industry, because I've just been completely away from it almost for the last couple months, because I've been focusing on myself and letting everything just kind of filter their way through my feed in and out, bye before I can even think about it. So a lot of the bullshit that goes on throughout the industry, I really have no comment on, because I don't have much of an opinion on at all. So it's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't really want to have much of a complete say on things, because I just have like very little to no opinions on it. But it has been really nice to kind of just sit back and ignore a bunch of the bullshit that's going on, and just kind of be in my own lane. Like, I genuinely talked about it at some points where I was just like, you know, I was on social media maybe a bit too much, especially during my early days of being a VTuber, because I had to in order for me to network and to connect with people and stuff like that. So, yeah, because of that, I got addicted a little too much to it. And I was doom scrolling everything I possibly could, which was a fucking huge disaster for me and my mental health. But at the end of last year and the start of this year, I've like started to decrease that more. I've started using my phone more for just general, like as basic as I'll use it for communications and music, right? I don't use it for social media, other than checking Blue Sky for quick up. Like, that's the thing, right? Because Blue Sky is such a minimal thing, like not a lot of people use it as often, updates aren't as quick, and also not a lot of comments on events are as frequent. So because of that, you know, you check it, you get a couple updates, you get a couple articles, and that's that. For me, it's become more of a place where I see a lot of art, some quick updates from some close folks that I've been connected with, and if there's some sports going on, some comments on the stuff going on in the sports world. And, you know, that's that. I'm not bombarded with shit that I don't want to see, and I'm not bombarded with shit of stuff that I do want to see overstimulatingly so, right? So because of that, it's made me really get my head in a much better spot to where I really want to continue this path. I hate to say it, but, you know, stopping my VTubing career, if you want to call it that, is kind of helping me in a way, because it's freeing up my mind to get off social media and to get off trying to find the next topic to talk about. And, you know, it's trying to do a lot of, yeah, I don't know. You probably get what I'm trying to say, though. Like, I've enjoyed kind of being slightly off the social media platforms for the last couple of months. And I try to keep it that way, because I know it's been anything but good. So I'd like to keep it the way that it is right now and just kind of chillax. Yeah, and like, you know, for those that are watching and, you know, were expecting me to be a bit more emotional, I do apologize, right? But I've kind of already said it, but like, you know, what makes this graduation softer for me to get through, and to finish up is, you know, for a lot of people, sure, this may be the end of the road. But to me, at least, I know that I'm not going to see everybody else that's, you know, that knows me for being a VTuber on the other side, but I'm not keeping anybody away from it necessarily, right? Really the only thing that might change is I might not be as reachable, and as, you know, able to be connected with, because I don't really want to connect with that many people or like not as many and as often as I would if I was a VTuber. Because as a VTuber, I feel like I still need to connect and network with so many more people that, You know, I'm nowhere close to that stage. But on the other side of things, it's like, yeah, I don't need to, though. Because I don't need to, then I don't see a reason to. I don't have to, right? I don't have to continue hardcore connecting with shit when it's not necessary. It's not necessary. So I do hate how the future is going to look out in the short-term future, because it means that I am going to have to go through and get rid of all my assets. For the most part, I'm going to have to delete or change up a couple extra profiles and all that. The Discord, obviously. Really hate deleting a Discord, but I'm not going to use it, so what's the point of keeping it around when it could get hacked and then other people are at risk? So it's like, I'd much rather not have that risk happen at all than just be like, all right, well, there's no account there to begin with. Yeah. I really do. Like I said, like, it sucks, but I'm not going to completely go away. I'm not going to completely ditch everybody and everything and ride off into the sunset all by myself. Rather, it's just a chapter of my life that I want to officially close. I haven't been the greatest at streaming to begin with, and the last couple of years have kind of made it amplified by the fact that everything just hasn't been working out for me streaming wise whatsoever. And so because of that, I've just been like at a point to where it's like there's really not a point for me to continue streaming when it's going to become less of a priority. As my personal life is beginning to change because of my own decisions. Selfish, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I have the personal right to make decisions on my own and change if I feel like I need to change or want to change. So I don't feel like it's a bad decision to graduate, because, like, seriously, I haven't streamed since November, and even then, it's been months before that, before I streamed then. So it's like I haven't been streaming really at all since half a year, basically. And, you know, I feel bad about it, sure, but, you know, if streaming just isn't working out for me, then I feel like I got to do something about it. And, you know, I don't necessarily want to end on a negative note, but I do want to end with a lot more closure than the last graduation stream that I did, and a lot of the other normal graduation streams that you usually see. I don't want to seem like I'm disappearing completely, because that's not true necessarily. Lots of people know that there's an open book to follow my journey, but you have to do more work, even if it is just a couple clicks and a couple things here or there. But you know, that's all I can do. I can only do so much, and I'm not going to sit here and I'm not gonna sit here and, you know, overcomplicate things and make things rough for people, you know? So, I really do appreciate, though, everybody that I've met along this path and along this journey, right? It's been a long and very bumpy ride. It hasn't been smooth. It hasn't been great. It hasn't been, you know, as successful as I would have liked it to have been. But that doesn't mean that I can't be thankful for the people that I've met. Most of them, at least. And from everybody that I've worked with, either as a quick commission or made deep connections with, I'm thankful for it, right? I'm not going to sit here after all this and not be grateful. I'm not going to sit here after all this time and money and energy and all that. I'm not going to sit here and hate it, right? I don't regret being a VTuber completely. There's some things that I do hate that I did. And there are some reasons, or there are some hopefully understandable reasons as to why I've decided to graduate. And as well as admit that I am not looking back on VTubing completely fondly. But I don't want to sit here and complain about it to the point to where it feels like I am not thankful for what I've done for the last several years, because that is not true. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. I've had my fun, but creatively speaking and personally speaking, what the future lies ahead does not include being a VTuber much anymore. I've said it throughout this entire stream that I haven't had many thoughts about continuing being a VTuber past like the 4-year anniversary video, I think it was, back in September. 4 or 5 years. I don't remember how long it's been, actually. I could check, actually. But, you know, I've never that's the analytics page, dumbass. 4 years. Yep. That's what I thought. Yeah, I mentioned that I probably wasn't going to make a 5-year anniversary video because, creatively speaking, my plans have been pretty much set in stone since last year, that I was going to eventually move back over as a Japanaholic, but, you know, didn't know exactly when, but now I know when, and now it's now, obviously. I knew once that happened, I was probably going to stop being a VTuber and focus more on that, because it was going to be more like, that's more of a passion project than anything else, right? And I don't have to really focus on it, but if I'm going to be creative at all, that's where I'm going to focus on it pretty much all over. I'm not going to, like, you know, I'm not going to split creative projects between two separate accounts anymore, or whatever the case may be, or was being. So I'd like to be creative on one front one account, and that's that on the other side of things. Yeah. I appreciate everything that's happened, though. Regardless of how, in the end, a lot of it didn't pan out as well. There's no reason for me to sit here and not be appreciative or, you know, and be ungrateful. I shouldn't be that at all, because that's not the person that I am. That's not who I am. I've never been a deep character whenever I stream as Wyatt. I've kind of been slightly the opposite. I like to be myself for the most part, because that's how I've always preceded it, at least for me. So at least for me, I haven't been I don't regret showing my more true to myself side of things, because in the end, I feel like that's what's keeping a lot of my connections around from one to the other, because people know me as me, whether as a VTuber or not. There's not much of a difference. Really, the only difference I will say is that the other side is going to be a little bit less strict, I guess, on what gets put onto the channel quality wise. So, you know, I'm going to try my best to make stuff that is quality, you know, in terms of quality, it's up there, but, you know, I'm not going to try and follow trends, and I'm not going to do anything stupid for the sake of views. I'm just going to upload what I want to creatively upload during that time frame. Speaking of which, a video is going out in an hour, but I think I might push that off. I might. I don't think I will, though. No, I might not. I don't know. I kind of feel like I should, but... Don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, am I gonna miss VTubing? On one hand, no. Because it's not like I was doing any good at it to begin with. And, you know, it wasn't something I was consistently good at doing either. So there's that. But, massive but. Where? No, sorry. But I am gonna miss it, because anytime that I've streamed in the past, I've realized that I enjoy it more than my brain ever tells me after like a day or two of it. Right? Because every once in a while I'll stream and I'll be like, that was fucking awesome. And then after like a day or two, I'll just kind of be like, oh, I dread streaming again. Oh, I dread it. But like, I know especially once, you know, this all becomes like a year or two in the past, one of two things is going to happen. It's always going to be certain. I'm either going to completely forget about this whole ordeal ever happening, and it'll just be like a, oh, yeah, I remember when that happened kind of deal, because I'll still have some of the accounts and like access to them, but not to a level like today. Or I'm going to completely forget about it. One or the other. And if not me, everybody else will. right? So it's like, you know, is anybody gonna really remember this channel in like a year or two outside of me? Probably not, unless some of the videos get recommended very late into its lifespan, which, sorry to those that see these videos within like the next 2 years or so. Sorry. Sorry. But I am gonna miss it. Probably a lot more than not, but that's to be determined. It's still pretty 50-50 right now. I don't know what my final reaction's gonna be until like later this year when I figure out what my future holds, because there's so many unknowns in my life right now, especially in the future, that I could have a complete fucking breakdown emotionally if I go too in depth with how with all the stresses and shit like that, because I've only really scratched the surface. So I could easily stress myself out to a complete fucking breakdown if I wanted to on the street, but I don't think that would be right. So there's that. But you know, my regrets I've made public in the past and today as well. And you know, there's stuff that I do want to change. I really wish I didn't fuck up those 2 incidents during that time frame, because I really think that I could have had a lot more success had I continue with keeping those bridges intact. I know one of them probably was going to be burnt at some point, but you know, it was probably for the better, I guess. I don't know. That's the thing. I kind of wish, I don't know. I just kind of wish certain things didn't happen the way that they did. But it's all in the past, and there's nothing I could do about it anymore. Nothing that I could have done anyways to begin with during the time frame. But again, I don't know. It's just, I wish I could change some of the past, because, you know, it would have been nice to do some stuff differently. I think if you ask, if I went back in time and told and like asked myself, do I want to be a VTuber? Right? And then went back to my 2021 self and answered that question, would the answer be yes or no? I think I'm at a point to where I can say with 80% certainty yes. Because the reason why I would almost say no is because I'm like, if I continue to focus on the Japanaholic channel, I probably would have continued to be I would have been a VTuber anyways. Because that route would have probably been, instead of me separating the two apart, I would have probably just kept going. Right? It would have at least been a phase, if anything, right? Even if it wouldn't have been a popular phase. But another part of me is like, you know, I wouldn't be a VTuber if I were you, because, you know, you would not study up on Japanese. You would not be able to watch some good stuff coming out at the time and read stuff coming out at the time that you would have loved anyways and been a part of the community. Because now I'm reading up on that said stuff and watching it, and I have like nobody to talk to about it because that community has come and then gone to others. So, like, there's a part of me that missed out on a lot outside of streaming. And yes, streaming did take up a lot of that time and a lot of that brain power that went over to streaming. That could have went to being an avid anime watcher and manga reader again, but that didn't happen. So that that sucks. Yeah. But at the same time, I can't sit here and tell my past self no. Because after all that I've said and all that I've talked about and all that all that's happened within the last 4.5 to 5 years, it would be stupid of me to go through what I talked about just like 10 minutes ago about me being grateful and me being appreciative of everything that's happened, and then immediately come out right out and just say like, oh, I would have told myself to not be a VTuber, because then I wouldn't have met everybody that's, you know, that I've met in the last 4.5 to 5 years. Right? Like I've met some good people in the last 4.5 years that it would honestly feel stupid of me to say, yeah, get rid of those connections. Get rid of that knowledge that you have of everything else going on in the world and blah, 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 blah. Stay away from that side of things or whatever. Because it really would have been tough for me to say, like, oh, I was going to meet the same people as a VTuber. Because even if I was able to do that as a Japanaholic, even if I was a VTuber, chances are, I don't know if anybody would have taken the chance to have me be an acquaintance. Especially if they were involved in an agency. And there were some agencies that I was, like, not necessarily close with, but had acquaintances in, right? And now that kind of all fizzled out once I became independent more and less consistent. But you know, listen, there's some folks that I've met as a VTuber that I have already met and still have connections with even before I was one, right? Like, that's the thing, right? That's the funny thing about it. There's some people that I've had connections with for more than 5 years. They don't know it. They just don't know it. Some people know me as a VTuber more, but the moment that I was like talking to them and being like, hey, do you want to connect on the other side of things? They were like, wait, you're that person too? Like the ultimate reveal was absolutely hilarious. Like, there's some people that, like, I kind of wish I could ask right now their, like, reactions to it, because I bet you they would be, like, absolutely fucking shocked that I was able to manage to separate the two quite well. Maybe not as, like, completely, but it's as good as it possibly could have been. That's how damn good I was at keeping the two separate. Until, like, the last couple months when I was like, all right, I need to, like, switch it up because, you know, I don't want to, you know, yeah. About 10 minutes away from in that 3-hour mark, so there's that. Yippee. But yeah, I am going to miss streaming and being a VTuber. I am going to miss it. I really am going to miss it. I'm going to miss it more than I thought I was probably going to. After spending the last almost 3 hours plus, reminiscing about it. Yeah. It's just been one of those kinds of, those days where, it's one of those days where I'm thankful that, you know, the people that I have connections with are more open to me not wanting to be a VTuber anymore. Because I was a little afraid, I will admit. I was a little afraid of announcing the graduation. And it really all stems from the first time that I did a graduation stream. When I was transitioning to being an independent VTuber. Obviously, between the two, nothing really has changed outside of the model and some of the stuff that I did. But the issue is that even despite that, a lot of the connections never really followed over. A lot of them didn't. So when I was going through the initial phase of announcing my graduation, there were a few things that took place in my mind during that time. The first thing I'll talk about real quick, outside of what I just talked about, is I was debating on when to do this. Because there was a part of me that wanted to wait until later this summer to do this, right? Like, push everything back till, you know, basically this stream happening in early May or late April, right? Like a few months from now, while continuing to stream and edit and kind of give myself more time to prepare a backlog of videos to upload on the other side. But what kicked it all off to now was my personal friend group started kind of cheering me on about making videos again, because, like, you know, the channel sat dormant for years because I wasn't making anything, because I was a VTuber. And they were cheering me on that I was actually wanting to create videos again, and they were actually kind of getting a little excited about, you know, creating content with me again. They started wanting to do more things. They started wanting to get involved in recordings more, and they wanted to do more gaming stuff. And I thought, you know, that's great. I like that, but you do realize that it's not going to be until, like, a while before I start uploading these again. But then, like, as that started happening more and more, and I started talking about it more and more, it just got to the point where it's like, you know what? let's just start the new year off with making videos again. I think it'll be better than waiting half a year to make videos again, especially knowing that I'm not going to have a lot of views on these videos, and I do want to get monetized, but it's going to be a while anyway, so it's like, might as well, right? So that pushed it to today, and you know, probably for the better, not because of the graduation part, but like, you know, I was gonna have way too many videos of a backlog, and yeah, anyways. But another thing was, I wanted to do this the way that it was because I wanted to give everybody enough time to realize two things. One, I'm done streaming, and this has been a decision that was made months in advance. So I want to give them more time to realize that I'm going to be, you know, quitting streaming. But I also wanted to give them an open invitation to be like, hey, listen, I'm giving y'all plenty of chances to see the two connections between me and the other side and decide if you want to still be an acquaintance of mine. If you're down with that, that's cool. If not, that's fine. I'm not gonna fucking hell, my lights turned off. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, you know, you have to follow, or you have to, you know, stick with me, or else, you know, you're a dick, or, you know, I'm not giving you an option, or I'll, you know, or on the opposite side, like, oh, I'm gonna take it horribly, I'm gonna be sad, depressed. No, I understand it. I don't care. You do you, boo. I understand it completely. Don't think otherwise. Like, that's the thing. So, I mean, yeah. I really didn't want to force any issues with anybody. I didn't want to have any of those issues whatsoever. So I sent it out, gave everybody time. If anybody didn't want to, that's fine. But if people did, that's fine too. Because the first time I did a graduation stream and stuff like that, it was not necessarily as short notice as it sounds, but it still wasn't enough time for a lot of people to realize that I was still streaming until it was like months into my independent career. Or tenure, I guess, where they were like, oh, you actually still are streaming. Like, no shit! I said it earlier that I wasn't necessarily quitting. I just was going to be slowing down because I've got a new job, and I also am going to be independent. So there's that. But yeah, this is for realsies this time. When I click this stop streaming button here, and soon, probably within a half hour or so, I will be ending it for the final time. Because yeah, of all the things that I've talked about within the last 3 hours. Yeah, it really is settling in that, this is becoming the last of the road for me. Yeah, it's tough. After everything that I've said, and after explaining in a way that, you know, this is goodbye as a VTuber, but not from me as a person, and all that, like, despite all that, this is still pretty tough for me, because You gotta realize, when you've been doing something for like 4 to 5 years almost, and you know, you're pretty passionate about it, wanting to quit and actually quitting are two of the most different feelings in the world. Right? Because when it's all said and done, like, I'm facing the reality, and it's like, to me, it just feels like I'm going to hit that stop streaming button, and then I'm just going to wait a couple weeks, if not a couple more months, and then hit it once more, and I'm back at it again, doing the same old, same old. But no, it's like, I know once I click that button, I have to go through and... Like, it won't hit me as hard now as it will when I start deleting stuff and start... actually going through with some of those plans. And only then would it really not truly hit me until, like, you know, later, when it's like, damn, I'm no longer a VTuber, and I'm no longer Wyatt. Like, it's kind of hard for me to not get emotional right now. Even though I know that it's like, I'm not disappearing completely. And I've said it many times that I kind of want to keep everybody around still, but it's going to be hard to. It's going to be super hard because... It is going to be super hard because I know that not everybody is going to understand. What's going on. Not everybody's going to, you know, take the time to go through a 3.5 hour stream. And not everybody is going to take the time to, you know, I'm struggling a little bit because of it's starting to settle in on me, so bear with me. Yeah. Man. Well, this music definitely makes it a little bit harder to get through this. I appreciate the fuck out of everybody. And to everybody that actually is going to continue to stay by my side, there's like another level of appreciation and love for you guys, guys and gals, because yeah, like, it makes this decision so much better for me moving forward emotionally, because I know that I can still talk to some of you you folks, knowing that I don't have to worry about never being able to talk to some of you guys and gals ever again. I just hope that it's not a huge struggle to change from one way to the other. Right. I don't think so. Like, for the most part, for those that are close to me and know who I am, if I've been in their streams every once in a while, they'll understand and they'll figure it out. And if not, they can always ask. I mean, like, I know that they'll probably struggle a little bit, and, like, you know, understandably so, because they're worried that I'm gonna be like, oh, but, like, no, like, I have been in this situation before. I completely understand it, that it's kind of difficult when transitions happen to go from one to the other. And like, I understand it. If they're being respectful about it, that's I appreciate that more than it just being fucking, you know, a hasty fucking middle finger to me, right? I get that. I've had it happen already where it's like, hey, aren't you actually that it's like, yeah, don't worry, right? That's fine. Because I'll be able to be like, yeah, you know, no. I'm this person. I am Wyatt. I am, you know, the other side. You get what I'm trying to say, right? Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. That won't ever bother me because I've been in this situation before. Not necessarily. Like, I've been in the opposite situation as the streamer. As the streamer, being like, oh, aren't you this person? So, I understand it. It's just, you know, I hope that, I really hope that things just... I really do hope that things just, you know, continue to work out for everybody that I've met, right? And their success continues to rise up while mine, you know, because like I'm just gonna be experimenting, and also I'm not trying to make content creation my above and be all way of making money, because that won't work out for me. That kinda has come and gone. I tried, and I don't think it's gonna really happen, especially with what... I've already kind of made up that decision. Like, if it happens, it happens, but I don't think it'll ever become a full-time job for me. Because it's too unstable of a job, essentially. So I don't necessarily want to create a environment where that becomes my only source of income. But I would like to keep a nice archive of my life during that stretch of time. So, you know, would like to keep as many archives of shit as possible. Which is why, like, I will keep all the streams public. And, you know, if people want to watch these years down the line, well, just note that I don't take any, you know, like, I'll take accountability for my actions, but it's not like I could do anything about it. You know, I won't have really any access to the whatevers anymore, and I'm not going to be able to, you know, be 100% on top of things anymore. So that's just how it be. And for those wanting to keep track of how much longer I got in this stream, give it another 15 minutes. We're at the final 15-minute mark of this stream, because I've been at it for, it'll be about 3.5 hours. And at that point, I will have said everything that I need to say, and actually make it another 20 minutes. Make it another 20. Get a good 3.5 hours on YouTube. So make it 20. Final 20. So we're in the home stretch essentially for this. So I hope you guys enjoy what's essentially going to be the last 3 hours and So, of what has been a somewhat up and down time frame of a as a VTuber. The Grand Tour is still going to be continuing with 3 new presenters. I mean, I'll give it a chance. I don't think it'll be great, but eh. Sorry, I just saw that on my feed. Yeah, it's just been it's been tough on me these last few months, mainly because I haven't really been streaming at all. So, and because of that kind of makes this a little bit harder for me to accept that this is the final stream, because I've been really wanting to, like, you know, have a little bit more closure on things outside of it, like iRacing wise and other gaming wise. But I just haven't had the need to do any of that sort whatsoever. Like I said, a lot of the off nights that I do have, I'll just spend either editing a video or doing literally anything else that I could use my time with, which includes like reading something, watching something, or learning, studying up on stuff. So, because I gotta get it up to a good level before I go. Because the higher the better, right? So I'm trying to utilize this year as a way for me to learn Japanese, and being a live streamer is not going to help. I hate to say that, but that is the truth. I really am sad that I'm stopping being a VTuber. Because I really do think that if I gave myself a good, consistent year or two, I think that I would pop off at some point. Because of my personality and my... yeah. I really think that I had some good ideas for streams, especially the racing stuff. I really was hoping that... I was really hoping that that stuff would have taken off a little bit more, so I could have expanded upon it and shit like that. Because there were plans of legitimately expanding the series to more than just one particular series. Would have had like a nice little feeder series and shit like that. So there would have been like 2 series, the main and the feeders. So that would have been it, right? Like how Formula 2 is to Formula 1. But, you know, honestly speaking, if I didn't have these plans to move and, you know, be the Japanaholic, I would have legitimately had a, legitimate, I would have had more legitimate time to be like, oh, I'm going to, you know, work on this and do this and also do this and that and work on this and that and do all this and that, you know, for streaming. And it would have been, you know, a whole different story. But I probably would have put more effort into live streaming during the middle of the nights instead of not, right? But it's just that there's a lot of stuff that just didn't go right, so... it just kind of sucks, you know? But, you know, I'm not gonna dwell on it that much because it's in the past mostly. It's just that I really wish I was giving this VTuber more of a fair shot. I should also say too that there was something that I mentioned in like an update stream a while ago, that also obviously for obvious reasons that are clearly obvious, they're just not going to work out. First of all, the end of 2025 follower goal thing, yeah, lol. That totally happened. I don't even know where I go to fix that. Actually, that might be a... I don't even know where that's at. I don't even know where anything is on Twitch anymore. Blech. But also I had commissioned a brand new design for this character. I was gonna make like sometime last year, if not like early this year. If I continued streaming, it would have been like the year where I had like a complete fucking overhaul of this character and redesign it in a way that actually would have fit more of me instead of continue to be a character that wasn't my personality whatsoever. So, it got to the point to where the design was done and I think the model was, ready to be rigged. But a part of me was not looking forward to... Like, I think... So, like, the thing is that the design process took too much time, right? I wanted to get it done sooner rather than later, so I think I started the commission, like... God, when did I start the commission? Like, 2023? I think it was, like, 2023 or 2020, like, late 22. When I commissioned the design. And yeah, it was around that point. And it took fucking almost 2 years to work on a design. So... And at that point, there was, like, already plans of just... graduating. So, at the end of it all, I spent the money on the design and the model to, like, not even get it rigged. Because I was just too out of it entirely in terms of streaming. I just didn't want to do it anymore. So after all was said and done, I spent several $100s on a new design, and it didn't work out. Did not work out in the end. It's kind of just in the scraps for now. So there's that. That sucks. Yeah, obviously, with everything that I've said and everything that I've talked about, I am not going to, I'm not going to sell anything here. Despite the fact that I could obviously use the money from it. Like, I could definitely sell this model and sell its assets for fucking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Not gonna go that route, though. This, for a number of reasons that, if the last 3.5 hours almost hasn't told you anything, it means that I did a terrible job of explaining it. This whole character, this whole thing, everything Wyatt Natus wise has been near and dear to my heart. Almost as near and dear as the other channel. Almost as near and dear as my own personal, like friends and family, right? because this legitimately opened up a whole new world for me, whether I liked it or not, right? Whether I liked everything about it or not, right? So, the thing is about being a VTuber is that, sure, in the end it didn't work out. Sure, in the end it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, and it, you know, I wasn't able to be consistent enough to gain a huge community or huge following. And sure, it didn't work out in my favor, and in the end, it's all for naught, right? It's all for nothing in the end. I still fucking enjoyed it. I still, you know, there's memories that I don't want to forget about. There's connections that I don't want to lose. And there's also a lot of stuff that I just think it's better off just leaving it closed. Just close the book. Don't do anything stupid. Because the last thing that I want to do is give the rights to this character away to somebody that's going to fuck up this entire image of Wyatt Natus. Honestly, somebody could make this so much better. Right? They could have the personality, they could fit the character type, they could do all this and all that. Everything works out just fine for them. But it's never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. You've dealt with me and the way that I am for the last 4-ish years. And even if somebody could fit my personality to a T and whatever the case may be, that's still not going to be me. So, I'm not selling this. I'm not selling it. I have the rights. I can if I wanted to. I'm not going to. No siree. No offer on the table could make me give you this model. Unless you're talking 5 digits at least. But at that point, you're fucking overspending the hell. I do it only to prove... I do it only because I would love to see a person spend more than $10,000 on this model and a lot of the other assets I'd give. I would love to see them try to make that much money using this model and its assets in return. I dare somebody to try that shit out, because that's fucking impossible. Right? I'll gladly accept fucking 10 grand plus, because that'll pay for... That'll give me what I need so I could pay off 2 years of the school. Right? That's fine. But I'm not gonna fucking sell it for anything less than that. So, haha. Plus, personally speaking, I don't think it's really worth getting into the whole VTuber industry anyways. I think it's on a downhill spiral, if I'm going to be completely honest, with how much bullshit goes on nowadays, but that's just me as well. So yeah, anybody currently watching, we're now at the less than 10-minute mark of this stream before I end it off for the final time, so there's that. I've been at it for 3.5 hours, and I've said basically all I've said, or all that I wanted to say. At some point, I am just going to start repeating myself, and my throat is killing me right now, because I've been speaking for 3.5 hours straight. Almost, at least. But no. I don't plan on going away completely. I'll send it one final time in chat, in case people have missed out on it the first time. I'm not going away completely. But I will be stepping away as a VTuber completely. Completely. After this stream, the YouTube is going to be sat dormanted. Twitch channel is going to be pretty much the same fate. Unless I think otherwise. Discord's gonna probably get deleted sooner rather than later. And Twitter's basically gonna be set to private. Thank God, I hate fucking Twitter. And the Blue Sky has already been changed to my personal Blue Sky account, which I will also link as well, because that is something that is different. Let's go to here. So there's that. If you're watching this in the future on YouTube, I think the chat replay will work. If it does, then you got... Then you can just copy and paste it. I think you'll be able to, at least. I think as long as the chat replay works, which I assume it would. But yeah. We're gonna hit the 5-minute mark here. Actually, yeah, we're gonna hit the 5-minute mark here. So just about before 10:10 my time. So yeah. Hasn't been the smoothest of roads, but it has been a road nonetheless that I will not forget for the last 4.5 years of my life, essentially. So I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it. I don't really regret being a VTuber. I kind of just regret the road that I took the VTuber known as Wyatt Natus on the entire time. Because it definitely could have been a whole lot better had my life been in a much better spot. It sucks, but creatively speaking, I want to go in a different direction. Personally speaking, I'm going to be in a much different direction than the last several years, here sooner rather than later, so I got to prepare for that more. And streaming has just become less and less of a priority, to the point to where if I do it, I gotta put such low effort into it that I'm no longer a VTuber. I'm just gonna be anything but. So I might as well just end it on that note. I can't necessarily sit here and be like, oh, I really want to be, continuing as a VTuber, when I'm just gonna be streaming once every other month, if that, or whatever, when I already have another channel that I would much rather focus on. So, like I said, I welcome anybody that has been watching and will be watching in the future that want to continue following me on the other side of things. I welcome it with 100% open arms. As long as you also respect the fact that I do not want to be remembered as a VTuber post today. I hate to say that because I don't want people to necessarily... I think I might go into overtime with this topic. Sorry. In advance. I don't really want to be remembered as a VTuber post today on the other channel. And I hate saying that because I know everybody that's watching this is only going to remember me as a VTuber because of the last 4 years of me being a VTuber, and that's what they only know me as. I will respect it if you at least give it a shot to be like, listen, you're no longer a VTuber, so I'm not going to acknowledge your past as a VTuber, because it's not worth mentioning. It's not worth mentioning on the other side of things. It really isn't. I'm not going to be that strict about it and, warn you, ban you, whatever, do all that shit. Just be respectful of my future and my future endeavors as a creative content creator. That's just, just common practice, essentially. I don't really want... I really do not want people to come in and overstep boundaries, because I've done it in the past multiple times, and it sucks. And I've always tried to keep my boundaries well known and well placed, that it's like, hey, listen, you can come over to the other side. Wide open. It's wide open for you. Just be respectful and do not mention my past as a VTuber. I would much rather that kind of just be left in the past and left separated than to, yeah. Essentially speaking, I think that wraps up everything for the most part. Man, It's been a ride. It has been a ride, and yeah, I do think it is my time though to call it, because I've been sitting here for 3.5 hours, and I really don't want people to, I really don't want to keep repeating myself over and over again. There may be times I may live stream in the future, especially on the other side of things, but it probably won't be as often, and it probably won't be as, it won't be the same. But again, the other side of the coin and my future creative stuff, it's as wide open as it could be. So you are more than welcome to join me on the other side of things once I am done. And I will continue to stay creative as well as try to move on with my life. I appreciate you coming in, David. I'm also just about ready to end it too, so there's that. You came in at probably the best time, because I'm just about ready to end, because I've been at it for a long time, yeah. But yeah, I welcome anybody to come over to the other side, right? You're more than welcome to. I appreciate y'all that do, and I appreciate everybody that has stuck around with me for the last 4 years, despite my rocky road and very high levels of inconsistencies. To all that will stick with me, thank you. To all that have stuck with me and either will continue to or won't, I respect your decision either way, and I thank you very much for that. I would try to thank everybody that I have talked to, worked with, or collaborated with, or done anything of that sorts that I have seen, but I think I would be here for another 3 hours doing so, because I would have too many names to count, and I'm thankful for every single one of them regardless, on the same level. And it's hard for me to say goodbye, because it has been a long time since I've done, like, doing this as a streamer. But it's definitely not as hard to do, because I know that there's a entry point to my future as a creator that anybody is willing to go through. So I don't think of it as a goodbye forever, but as a VTuber, it will be a goodbye. So if there's really anything else for me to say, is that if anybody has tuned in today or in the future when the VOD goes up, thank you, and fuck, I love you guys so fucking much. Like, it's rough. It's rough. It's a graduation stream. It's gonna be rough, especially because we're at the end point here. But I fucking love you guys. And it's... I really don't want to click that end stream button, but I know that I got to, because I've been at this for so long that I'm out of... My throat's getting sore. It's starting to burn. And I'm out of water. That's the most important thing. I'm out of fucking water too. So yeah. And I'm also pretty tired. So I have to end it. Yeah. All right. With that, I will say thank you all so much for watching and listening to me for one final time as a VTuber. This is not me signing off for the last time. as Taylor the Japanaholic. But this is the final time that I'm going to be signing off as Wyatt Natus, the VTuber that streams on Twitch and on YouTube. There will still be some songs that I will post as Wyatt Natus on the streaming platforms, but that's for a reason that I've kind of went through already. It's kind of hard for me to change those names, and I don't think it's worth doing so. So as an artist, you will still see some music from me. But as a VTuber, this is goodbye. I love you guys. You know I do. This is Wyatt Natus, signing off for the final time. Thank you for the 4 years. And I'll see you around in the future. Good night.